Hi everyone, Mamie here, and we have another tutorial today using this stamp set by Hero Arts. Really cute stamp set, great for beginners coloring with watercolors or Copics or whatever. This item number is CL755. It doesn't have a name. And here is the watercolor paper that I'm using, the Strathmore 400 series. Great paper. And we're going to be doing some no-line watercoloring. So I'm going to cut this paper down to an A2 size card. And I'm just showing you here the ink that I'm going to be using for the stamping and the dies, which are the stitched hillside borders and the stitched rectangles. And the stitched hillside borders are by Lawn Fawn, and the rectangles are by Simon Says Stamp. I'm going to be doing some ink blending with Distress Inks, and this one is Evergreen Bow or Bow. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. And I'm just going to do some light ink blending here. That's going to be the hills of our scene here. And this is a nice light green color. I really like this color. And then for the sky, I think I'm using Salty Ocean. And this ink blending I think works best, like I've said before, if you already have ink on there from a previous blending. If you start out with a clean foam, it's a little bit harder to get the saturation going. So if at first you don't succeed, just keep blending. Get those fingerprints off. And there we go. The scene is ready to go. Easy enough. I'm just aligning my stamp there where I want it to go. And now I'm going to stamp it with this archival ink in pale ochre. I'm going to be using my Distress Inks to watercolor this. And I'm using the browns in Tea Dye, Vintage Photo, and Gathered Twigs. And I'm going to be using my number 4 round brush, Black Velvet by Silver. Fantastic brush. It holds a lot of water. I'm not going to water down my pigments too much. I'm going to keep them kind of dark because I want for the image to be a little bit darker. I don't want to wash all the color out with water, but right now I'm just dampening or wetting the paper where the image is so the color will flow better, move around better. And I'm putting a nice even surface . And I'm putting on the first layer of the tea dye, and I'm just going in where I'm deepening the shadows a little bit, but really I'm just putting a wash of color over the whole image. I love this little stamp set. It's so simple and it's really cute. So the first layer is just adding a lot of color, a nice wash. Making sure I have even coverage in the places where I need it to be even, and then in the shadows to have it a little bit darker. I'm coloring the cub. And all three of these stamps with the elephant, the bear, and the owl are great for me because I only have one kid, so it's just the mama bear and the baby bear. Now I think I'm ready to move on now to my darkest color. And I'm going to start in the shadows. Because I haven't added a lot of water to my my ink, the shadows are going to be nice and dark. So I want to start where the shadows are, because if I start where the light area is, it'll start out too dark. And it's hard to take away that color. So I'm just starting here in the corners. Behind the ear. Any place where there would be a bit of shadow because of something kind of in front. Behind the ears a little bit. And then now I'm going to fill in the nose with the gathered twigs, nice and dark. And now I'm moving to my medium color, which is the vintage photo, and I will just kind of be fading out that darker color into the lighter color. Just blending it out, blending it together. And since I'm not using a lot of water, I really needed to re-moisten some of those areas to get the color moving. So sometimes you have to just kind of, you know, manipulate the areas a little bit. And now it seems like it's spreading out pretty good. Still trying to keep it nice and dark where the shadows are. And I'm going to try to keep the face a little bit lighter because it is in the foreground, so it wouldn't be as dark as the rest of the bear. And I kind of bled into some of the white parts there in the eye area, which is totally fine because I'm just going to take my Jelly Roll pen and fill that area in with some white, and then go back in with my black pen and put the eyeballs back in there. And I've got this video sped up pretty fast, probably about 3 times faster, and it still is taking quite a while, so you can imagine how long it took for me to do. So it was about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so to color this image in, because with the watercolors there's just not, you know, the color goes where it wants to go. You only have so much control, so you know, you really have to take your time, and the more water you use, the less control you'll have. So you just really need to just take your time and enjoy the coloring and not rush, because as soon as you rush, that's when you make the most mistakes. I'm just darkening those paws a little bit there. And it's okay if I get out of the lines, outside the lines, because I'm going to be cutting this image out. I'm going to keep the baby bear a little bit lighter. So yeah, if you haven't tried no-line watercoloring, I really recommend this Pale Ochre Archival ink by Ranger. It's really great. It's nice and light, but you can still see it, but then you can't see it when you have colored it. I've tried to use distress inks for my no-line watercoloring, but they disappear when you start painting over them because they react with water. And this kind doesn't, which is fantastic, but it's also still very light. It's a great color for this technique. It really is. So they're looking pretty good, I think. Now I'm just going to take my white, well, I ended up using my Uniball pen here and just filling in the whites of the eyes. And the white pen actually really helps the eye pop. And here we have jumping over to the scene, and I'm showing my VersaFine ink. It's black onyx, I believe, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment with that ink. Very good ink. And it says, "To the best kid ever." Really cute sentiment. I like the way that it's lined up and down like that. It's very cute. And now I'm stamping out some clouds out of the same paper, watercolor paper, just so everything will match. I don't like it when I'm using watercolor paper and then some of the elements will be made out of like regular paper, because you can tell the difference in the texture and everything. So if I do something in watercolor, I prefer for the whole thing to be in watercolor. Now I'm filling the eyes back in here. And now we can start assembling our card. Now I'm taking some of my black soot distress ink and just lightly dabbing a little bit under the bear there, the bears, so that they can have a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back to pop these two animals up here, and they are looking really cute. So now I'm spend a little time, which I'm surprised how long it took me. I spent a while trying to decide the placement of these clouds that felt right. So I end up just cutting one of them and and this ended up being better. I just kind of like the pieced look. So I'm going to go with that, I think. And that's pretty much going to be the card for today. I just want to say that I really appreciate all you guys subscribing and liking and commenting on my channel. I really, really appreciate it. I'm still fairly new, and I like all the feedback. It really helps me figure out, you know, what I need to do better and what I need to change, etc. So I just want to say I really appreciate that, and I hopefully will be able to start making more videos here pretty soon. I've been pretty busy. But here's the card. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe and comment. Have a good day.